I am so excited and so honored to sit down with this week's guest, Sev Ohanian, an Armenian-American film producer from Glendale, California, and a proud Hoover High School alum. The son of immigrant parents, Sev's journey into Hollywood began not with studio backing or representation, but with a deep love for movies and the drive to create something special. More than 20 years ago, he started by making YouTube videos, way before it was cool, laying the foundation for a career built on persistence, storytelling, and the belief in the long game. Sev is the executive producer of the critically acclaimed movie Sinners, which has earned an extraordinary 16 Academy Award nominations. Sev has made history as the first Armenian-American producer ever nominated for a Best Picture, a milestone moment not only for his career, but Armenian representation in Hollywood. Known for championing bold, original voices at a time when the film industry is rapidly evolving, Sev has become a defining force behind the scenes, navigating the creative, logistical, and emotional complexity of bringing a film to life. Central to his journey is his partnership with his wife, Natalie, a fellow producer whom Sev credits as his, quote, unlikely hustler and true partner in both life and work. From local movie theaters in Glendale to the world's biggest stages, Sev Ohanian's story is a full-circle testament to what's possible when passion, perseverance, and purpose all come together. Sev, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Such an honor to have you. And this is not our first interview.
No.
So the first the first one, I came to set. Well, I wasn't on set with you, but I don't remember what movie you guys were on, but it was in this small trailer where we did the interview.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget.
Not so small. It was my producer's trailer. It was medium size.
Medium size.
It was an indie film.
Yeah. You had all these Post-its on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so meticulous at what you do and you care so much. You stopped the interview and you said, I need to make sure there's nothing on these Post-its that's if someone zooms in, they'll read what it says.
Yes.
So I remember that.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Remember, that is so me, yeah. Because that was a movie called Missing, which was a sequel to a movie called Searching. And at the core, both of those films are very intense mystery films.
Mm-hmm.
So the fun of watching them is, not knowing what's going to happen. And Searching famously had some big twists. And I know that there's a very strong contingent of fans out there who may have watched an interview and clicked on it. So apologies for that. But thanks for noticing. Yeah, I feel like you are too. Look at you.
Well, we have to be attention to detail, right? But
Of
when you really
course.
care about something, I think that's really the job of a producer.
Yeah.
Is to be all about the details.
Yeah, I agree with that.
When we did the interview, I think this was when Judas and the Black Messiah came out, and there was a lot of Oscar buzz. You guys had a few nominations. That in itself was such a big deal. But Sev, now, I'm a giddy fangirl right now because 16 nominations for Sinners. Can you believe it? How does that even register?
Oh man, it hasn't quite fully processed because that was just a few days ago. It feels like it was 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the story of how that morning went down for me?
No.
I was sitting on my couch with my wife, Natalie, fellow filmmaker, and my parents came over and my sister Ramala came over. And we were all watching on the couch. Our son Auden, who's 2.5 years old, was asleep. So we were trying to keep the energy level kind of like as a stage whisper. So we'd be cheering like, woo, win me. But it was kind of like,
don't wake the baby.
Exactly. And my dad was sitting literally next to me to my left. And he had like a pencil and paper and he was writing down each award. And I was like, Dad, it's okay. Like there'll be articles and, the publicist will send us the notes. And he was like, no, I got it. And as we saw the last award, my dad said, you guys got 16. And I'm like, okay, no, there's no way we got 16. Like you miscounted. And, classic immigrant dad. He's like, you think I don't know how to count, in Armenian? And then, 5 minutes later, we're celebrating. And then like the phone's blowing up with like congratulation texts. And, our team is texting us and articles are being, sent our way. And it's saying like Oscar history, like 16 nominations, first ever. And I'm like, whoa, guys, we got 16. My dad's like, oh, so you believe the articles. You don't believe your own father. But
I have notes here. I wrote them all
no,
down.
I know, man. Like classic. That's my dynamic with my dad, man. He's so good at everything he does. But no, it didn't sink in. But like, honestly, any film is a team sport. Like truly. Sinners in particular was a like superstar team sport. Not only do we have like the absolute best people in every department and every role, everyone worked so hard And the movie doesn't work if any one of those elements isn't absolutely working at its A-level game. So the fact that we got so much recognition across all of the departments, that filled me with so much joy. Because some of these departments, their jobs, because they do them so well, you don't even know it. Like, as an example, our VFX department, these guys were incredible. What they did on that film, the way they realistically doubled Michael B. Jordan as two living, breathing human beings, on top of all the vampire stuff and the period stuff, they did it so well. You watch the movie, you wouldn't even know it. You think you're watching a regular movie. So the fact that they got recognized, oh my goodness, them and the sound team, Delroy, like, come on, man. Like, it was a beautiful time, man. It was beautiful.
Let's go back to the beginning. Hoover High School. We're both from Glendale, Armenian kids. Did you always have this dream that this is what you wanted to do?
Kind of. I always had the passion for film. I really credit my parents. My mom would take me to the library all the time and at first forced me to read books. And then I eventually became quite addicted to it. And I was a huge reader as a kid. My dad would take me to a different place called Blockbuster Video, rest in peace. And we would rent videos all the time. Like, that was our thing. And it was kind of like financially not smart because we would rent the same movie often to the point that we
same thing.
should have just bought it, save so much money, especially those late fees. And that instilled in me a real love of storytelling. And I considered filmmaking seriously as a career path, but I hesitated to pursue it for real because the perception for me, which I think is a fairly global perception, is that filmmaking is a very insular industry.
Right.
And there's a lot of like nepotism involved, or you got to have connections, or you got to come from money. These are things that I didn't have. So on top of that, being an Armenian-American and not, I said this recently in a talk I gave, but growing up as an Armenian-American, there's a couple of famous Armenians you're told about. Do you know about these? Like the guy who invented the MRI machine was an Armenian.
Yes.
Did you know this?
Yes.
You've heard this. The guy
I do Armenian History Month every year. So
well,
it's
there
like
you
we've
go.
covered all.
The color television,
yes.
Armenian. I heard this one, and I'm not sure if it's true, but the exact shade of green dye on the US dollar bill.
Yes, that's another one.
Is that what?
Like, we know Eric Bogosian in movies,
Yes.
Andre Agassi. There are a few Armenians, Cher, and then that's it.
Totally. But, and you know what's crazy about it? There's so many more than we even knew about. Like, I learned about them to this day. But for me, I just didn't ever hear about it growing up. So I didn't feel it would be a responsible career path. Being an immigrant myself, my parents being immigrants, I wanted to do a job that would honor the sacrifice that they had made for me, my sister. So I actually settled for journalism.
Really?
Yeah, like not like broadcast journalism. I'm not good looking enough like you guys, but I studied like newspapers. I became the editor-in-chief of my high school newspaper. I interned at the LA Times, and I studied it in college. But by chance, like just for fun, I started shooting YouTube videos, making fun of my parents and their Armenianness. Today, they would be TikTok videos on iPhones. At the time, I was using my dad's mini DV camera that we would use for our like occasional family vacations to Palm Springs.
Palm Springs.
Exactly. And I shot some videos with my friend Ejmin, who played the role of this like really silly Armenian dad, put them online for like my 20 friends to watch, and they blew up. And made another video. This time, I cast my sister in the video. The part needed a teenage Armenian girl, and my sister was a teenage Armenian girl. She was not an actress. This time, the second one, I wanted to have a mom and dad. The story was a teenage Armenian guy comes to pick up a girl to take her on a date. He makes the fatal mistake of insisting on saying hi to her mom and dad first. Semi-autobiographical.
Right.
And my friend Ejmi played the dad and the mom. Like complete with the blonde wig, fake boobs. It was awesome.
I remember. I've seen snippets of it.
There you go. And these videos took off that I kept making the shorts. People around the world were sharing them. Armenians were like spotting my actors on the streets. So I made a movie based on it. I wrote a movie called My Big Fat Armenian Family, shot it with my friends, and spent a year editing it, and then released it at Glendale High School and sold tickets and DVDs. And it was a hit as like a no budget movie. So that gave me the empowerment to pursue it for real.
I think there's something to be said about starting where you are and just doing something that really feels authentic for you. Because that type of energy, it creates a momentum. You're not trying to create something out of nothing. You really are just doing something something you feel, and something other people will feel too.
I love that. And yes. And like, I was reluctant to pursue filmmaking because I felt I didn't have the connections, the resources, the knowledge that it takes to do it, because I just didn't have that being who I was and where I was from.
Mhm.
But in the process of making this tiny little movie about my people, with my people, I realized that I actually had all those things the whole time. But
Right.
like connections didn't look like what you think of connections, and resources, and certainly knowledge, but it was my like my crazy family was helping out, my relatives, my cousins, my teachers, neighborhood, like people all wanted me to win
Mhm.
by the virtue of they saw who we were and what we were doing. So I realized that even though it may be easy to feel like you don't belong to the mainstream or you're not part of the establishment, if you have your own community, like it's almost better
Yeah.
because you have a team. So yeah.
I think that fear, though, takes a lot of people out of the equation, myself included.
Mm,
I was telling you earlier, I did theater my whole life from when I was 3 years old. My parents have videos of me just putting on plays and performances. In the 4th grade, I was assigned a book report and I said, I'm not doing it. I'm going to do a play. And I cast the whole class. I had my aunt do the costumes. My mom drew the backdrop, and that just carried me all the way until adulthood.
that's crazy.
But it's the fear of, I need to do something responsible. What if I stay in this industry and I never make it? And sometimes you don't have the support from the people around you to say, you've got this, do it. Instead, the fear is reinforced. And so you never go for it,
Mm,
unfortunately.
yeah, that's a shame. But also very happy that your teacher let you do that, because
Mhm.
we as a community, as Southern California, we got you as our newscaster, as a
Thank
as a reporter. So that's good for us.
thank you. So from there, you went to USC. What was USC like as a young filmmaker back then?
It was a dream come true, because it really felt like we were in the number one film school, surrounded by the most incredible
Mhm.
teachers, and every single student was like the superstar of wherever they came from. It was really, really wonderful. And it was expensive and difficult and grueling, and there was a lot of experiences and a lot of challenges and just trying to like be competitive and stay afloat. But for me, the biggest takeaway from USC is the relationships I made. It's where I met Ryan Coogler, who directed Sinners
Mhm.
and helped me produce Judas and the Black Messiah. That when we met about it a couple years ago, and through him I met his wife Cincy Coogler, who's now our other partner. I also met Anish Chaganty at USC, who I was his TA, and he was a really brilliant young student. And
Mhm.
we've gone on to make movies together, like Searching and Missing.
Right.
And then most importantly, I met Natalie who's now my wife, producing partner, previously fiance, even before then girlfriend, even before then friend. But those relationships, I only met them because we all were in this one magical place with the same love and passion, and we all just found each other, and we've been working together ever since.
What do you think it is about love of movies that really bonded you and Natalie?
Mm. The truth of how we met, it's kind of funny. It was at an Armenian Student Association event.
An ASA?
It was an ASA event. And what's funny is I was joking to one of my friends right before I went there, because I was like, "Oh, I gotta go to this ASA event. I'm probably gonna
Mhm.
meet my future wife there." Because the
You
joke is that
manifested it?
like literally like so many Armenians meet each other there. And the theme was like a career day kind of thing. And I
Mhm.
had just graduated from school. But because I helped produce Fruitvale Station, Ryan's first movie, it was this big hit. They asked me to come and speak as an example of success in the film career like
Mhm.
trajectory. And I got there and it was me and it was like 7 or 8 other established people, but everyone else was elderly. Like everyone else was like 60s, maybe like late 50s, like well-established
Mhm.
doctor, lawyer, businessman. And there I was like I look, I was very young. I was right out of school. And more importantly, they had all these tables set up, and there was a table for like the pre-law students, and it was like 20 students like around that table.
Mhm.
There was a table for the business students, there was like 50 students, a doctor student. It was like all these full tables, and there was one table for film, and it was only me and Natalie.
Oh, wow.
Because like speaking to your theme, like a lot of
Uh-huh.
Armenian immigrant kids, like we don't necessarily go in these paths.
Mhm.
So the fact that she and I were like the only Armenians there, and she was helping to run the event, I thought she was so impressive. I at some point asked her, "Hey, could I pitch you a project that I'm working on? I want to just kind of like," I was practicing my pitch all the time. I used to do this. I'm sorry if you were in front of me at a Starbucks line in 2013, I probably pitched you something like, but I pitched Natalie this project, but halfway through, she did something that had never happened to me
Mhm.
before. She interrupted me. She cut me off. And she was like, "Can I guess how you're gonna finish this pitch?" I was like, "Okay." She perfectly finished my pitch. And I was like, "How did you like, do you know my writing partner?" And it just demonstrated she had an incredibly savvy sense of taste and like ability of understanding storytelling. And she was like tenacious. Like she just did the fact that she did that. We became friends and over many, many weeks would just keep in touch, as friends do. And eventually we started dating. And once we were dating, she had graduated and was, starting to make her own projects. I went to Savannah, Georgia to shoot a movie. And I said bye to her for a few weeks. I'll be back, in 2 months, but let's keep in touch, obviously. And 4 days into that experience, I called her and I was like, "Babe, like I need your help. I need this is a project I had inherited from someone else and the team wasn't the right team." I was desperate. And she
Mhm.
had just finished working at one particular job and she was looking forward to taking some time off. I begged her, I'm like, "I need you to be on a flight." She's like, "Okay, like when? Like tomorrow, the next day?" I was like, "No, like there's a 4 o'clock flight today. Can you be on it?"
Oh, wow.
She came out there and she saved my butt. She saved the movie. She was incredible on this film, like produced the heck out of it. And after that experience, we realized, wait, we can actually work together fairly okay. I don't know if that's true for every couple who does work together, especially in our industry. So ever since then, we would often produce together movies and sometimes we would do our own things, but always kind of help each other
Mhm.
behind the scenes.
Would you say that she sees your blind spots?
Hmm. She would say yes. I would say maybe. No, of course. She knows me better than anyone, and I'd
Mhm.
argue I know her better than anyone, and we do complement each other really well. But we also share a lot of the same, I think, instincts when it comes to problem solving and especially creativity, like creativity wise. Like she's very sharp. She's able to watch a cut of a movie, and when there's movies we've made where we would watch the cut, and I'm like, okay, this scene is not working. We have to go reshoot it, which is very expensive and really like cumbersome. Like you have to get actors to get available again. It's a major pain in the butt. And that would be like, will you give me like 1 day with the editor?
Mhm.
And me and my partner would be like, okay, but good luck. She would come back and they edited in such a brilliant way that we never had to reshoot it. So she's got this amazing instinct to like see solutions where you would just never see them. And I don't know if I could say the same about me. So
Wow.
definitely we cover each other's blind spots.
When you were on stage at the Golden Globes, you said in front of the whole world, "I love movies so much, I proposed to my wife in a movie theater."
Yes.
Tell us all about that, please.
Oh man. Okay, that's so. I don't know if I've ever shared this story publicly. Maybe I have,
There's a
but
big chance.
hey, here it is, kids. Natalie and I obviously love movies, right? We've
Mhm.
devoted our entire lives to making them, and it's not easy to do so, but we love it. We also love going to movies. Maybe more so before we had our kid, but it was our holy space in the sense that you go somewhere for 2 to 3 hours, you turn off your phones, so you're not getting inundated with work requests or any kind of requests. You just disappear into a project and you
Mhm.
just love it. And we love like kind of whispering to each other a couple things here and there. We keep it quiet and then afterwards digesting it. So that's our number one happiest place. We were shooting a film at the time, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, obviously, in Canada. Really, really tough movie, as they all are. And I was spending a lot of time going back and forth to LA. Um, because, I formed Proximity Media with Ryan and Zinzi Kugler. And the only reason I was even able to do that, because that all happened while Anish Chaganti and I, Natalie, had a lot of success with searching. The only way I was able to make this company with Ryan and Zinzi was Natalie essentially took over the projects I was doing with Anish. She's now overseeing all those projects. She already was, but now she's really doing it. So because of that, she was on set in Canada. I was going back and forth in LA. We weren't seeing each other much. As the movie was coming to an end, it was like December. I said, "Hey, when we get back to LA, I'd love to go see a movie with you on Thursday." And she
Mhm.
was like, "Great, like let's do it."
Which movie was it?
So there's actually a really funny Sinners connection here. But at the time the movie was Aquaman.
Okay.
I
That
know.
makes me think of Entourage Aquaman,
Yes,
but there is an
exactly.
actual
There's an
Aquaman.
actual Aquaman DC movie. Maybe not the first movie that Nat and I would want to go see. And there's a reason why it has to be Aquaman. I'll get back to it. I remember she was like, "Why Aquaman?" I was like, "I heard it was great." So the problem is she used to see movies at the Hollywood ArcLight all the time.
Mm.
She was the member of the Hollywood ArcLight, but that means she would always buy the tickets. I needed to buy the ticket. So my assistant, Desi Gallegos, mine and Natalie's assistant, as his wrap gift, got us both ArcLight gift cards. Wink, wink, right? I kind of helped make that happen. I produced that.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'll buy the tickets. Then she's like, hey, babe, my family's coming in from Australia that day or the day before. I think I want to spend time with my family. I was like, oh, darn. Okay. And then she's like, hey, I just heard from my family. They're going to go visit their other relatives that day. Wink, wink. Again, helping all this
Orchestrated
happen.
the whole thing.
And then I cannot believe this woman. She's like, actually, now that I'm free, I got to go meet my accountant. I'm like, who meets their accountant like December 20?
Yeah.
And this is a new accountant she had just gotten. And then she calls me an hour later, furious. The accountant canceled on me. How could they? I can't believe this. And I was like, be easy on them. Maybe they had something came up. Again, this is me calling the accountant and being like, hey, you got to cancel on her.
She's being audited. I don't care.
Exactly. I pick her up that day and we're driving to the Hollywood ArcLight. And she asked me on the way, she's like, you okay, babe? Like, you're sweating, like something happened. So I start like making up the worst like lie about something that happened at work. And I feel she's concerned about me. We get to the Hollywood ArcLight, we walk in and I'm really distracting her from noticing stuff, right? We go upstairs. If you remember the Hollywood ArcLight.
I used to go there all the time. Yeah.
Best place. And you're supposed to show your phone for them to scan the ticket. I had them scan my ticket. And the guy looks at me and says, oh, you're in the wrong place. You're supposed to be downstairs. And I said, sure, sir, are you sure? Like, I'm supposed to be upstairs. And he's like, that's the wrong place. And all these ArcLight employees around him are like I can tell there was a problem here because he was supposed to scan it. Even though the ticket said downstairs, he was supposed to know who I was to tell me to go there. So we go downstairs and I'm like, I gotta use the restroom. That's like, you okay? Like, I'm like, I gotta go. Sorry. She's like, well, give me your phone. Let me go get us popcorn and stuff. And I was like, no. I was so stressed. Go in the bathroom. I make some calls. Finally, we go downstairs. And then they're like, oh, sir, sorry, you guys are supposed to be upstairs. And that's like, what's going on? We go upstairs because in the bathroom, I fix some things.
Made some calls.
We go into the theater. There's like 40, 50 people in the theater. We take our seats and the trailers start playing. And they're just, regular trailers. After the trailers are done, I forgot to mention, last second, it was not going to be Aquaman. I had to change the movie to Bumblebee. It was a Transformers movie starring Haley Steinfeld, who's also in my movie Sinners. So like amazing connection. We start watching the movie, but instead of the movie, Natalie and we all hear like cell phone sounds. And she was like, what's going on? And then we see text messages popping up on the screen. And it's two people planning a date saying, let's go see a movie. Okay, but I only like to see movies at the Hollywood ArcLight because they have the best screen. They have the best popcorn. Me too. I might hold your hand. Is that okay? Like kind of like cheesy, cute text messages. And right as it hits Natalie that these are our text messages.
Oh, wow.
Music starts playing. And then all 50 people in the theater stand up and like part out of the way.
I just got chills.
And like, I kind of go like this and somebody drops the ring box and Natalie's just like, what is going on?
Wow.
And everyone leaves and I turn to Natalie and I say, there's no cameras. There's no one watching. It's just us. And for like 15, 20 minutes, what had happened is around the time that Natalie and I first started dating, I had to go to Texas to shoot a movie for 3 months. And while I was away, we would text all the time. And those were like, those early texts where it's like super corny, cheesy. I had kept all those texts and I just kind of put together like a greatest hits just to remember the ridiculousness of our early relationship. And it was we just sat there eating popcorn and watching it and enjoying it. And then when that ended, because I think one of the last texts was something like, maybe one day we'll get married. I went on my knee and she was like, no, the floor's sticky. It's okay.
Nice popcorn.
And I had planned this whole thing, like all this orchestration, but I didn't plan what I was going to say. I wanted it to feel off the cuff and just natural. And I rambled a proposal. Thankfully, she said yes. And then we exited the theater and then, all those extras were there. They were like my friend Arlene.
They were extras?
Kind of. My cousin Ara, his wife Arlene, she worked across the street. So she just got everyone to come over like as a huge favor.
What an awesome story.
And then I'm like, oh, we should go home and, tell your parents, like they'll be surprised. And then, when the garage door opened up, her family was there, my family was there, everyone knew about it. And it was just like So wonderful. I have like one picture from that night, but it
That's
was
the cutest story.
they,
Oh
they
my
had us they
gosh.
had us go and sign. ArcLight has like this hidden room
Hmm.
of all the celebrities that have ever been there. Like they've signed on the wall, so we sign on there. And I was asking like what number of couple are we that's gone engaged here? And they said number one. I'm
Wow.
like, no one else has ever done this. And sadly, I think we're also the last because they closed up not too long after.
I
But
know, I know, but
but yeah,
that's an awesome story, and as a girl, I can tell you that's a pretty epic proposal.
thank
So
you.
good job on that one.
Thank you. It's the producer in me. It's probably a little bit over the top or OTT as the kids would
But
say.
you know what? That's appreciated, and it's appreciated nowadays. I think more so because just like people don't, I don't know. I think there's something lost in really putting in the effort and
Mm,
wanting to be lost in this beautiful world of magic for 2 hours. I don't know if people appreciate it as much nowadays, given our attention span, but
sure,
I hope they
sure.
do, and I hope that people out there really do carve out the time to create these beautiful moments that you can talk about, 10 years later. And yeah, it's
Yeah, on a
special.
podcast,
On a
exactly.
podcast,
Would
exactly.
not have imagined that. Yeah.
How
Thank
would you
you.
say that Natalie being a part of your life and a part of this journey that you both have been on, do you see, can you imagine what it would have been like had you never met?
I don't know if I would be doing what I'm doing today.
Really?
I mean, on the logistical, like I said, she literally runs all of our projects that I do outside of Ryan and Zinzi. And we have projects that we're doing with Natalie
Hmm.
and Anish at Proximity, and then projects without her as well, that she's doing without us as well. But it's a really tough career to have to navigate. It gets very lonely, it gets very challenging.
Hmm.
And having somebody who's right there next to me 24/7, whether she's on the project or not, I feel like that's a cheat code. I feel like I'm very lucky. And Natalie, if you know her at all, she's so incredible. The nickname that everyone who works with her has for her is unassuming hustler. Truly, people have made like sweatshirts for her that like it's
Hmm.
like her rap gift because what's amazing about her, she's actually quite innocuous. You wouldn't know necessarily because she's very graceful and humble, but like she's a stone cold killer when she's producing a movie. She handles business. I've seen her stand up to high, powerful studio executive types, like on calls, and I'm texting her being like, "Babe, what are you tone it down? Are you kidding me?" And people respect her and they go, "You know what? You're right, Natalie. Well, let's do it your way." So she's an incredible asset purely, and obviously she's a great human being and I love her and she's an amazing wife and all those things too and a mother now, but no, I don't think I'm who I am today without her. Like no question.
Where do you think that grace under pressure comes from?
Mm, that's a good question, man. I've never thought that introspectively. It's always feels like it's been a part of her, but you know, I'm sure she would say from my husband Sev. No, but no, she had a great upbringing, man. She's got great parents, great sisters. She's been really lucky to go to some great schools with some great teachers, and she just, I think it's that same immigrant hustler,
Hmm.
like mentality that you have, that I have. That I think that informs exactly who she is too. And I think she feels the same responsibility to be a good older sister to her little sister, and role model now to the community as much as we can. So I would say all of those things.
I think it's the appreciation for the opportunity because we know
Oh
how
yeah.
rare it is and how difficult it is for you to even get that first shot. Looking back now, you said something like it can be really hard. Were there ever moments where you thought, I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know if I'm actually going to make it?
Man, so many. Especially when I was more doing independent films, which were like lower budget movies that had no guarantee they would ever get finished, let alone seen.
Hmm.
There was a period of time where every single movie, as we were in the pre-production phase, which is when you're trying to get everything together, trying to get race to the first day of filming, when everything can go wrong, does go wrong. Oh, like every one of those movies, I would call my friends, I would let it be known, I would make an announcement, "Hey guys, this is my last movie." I'm dead serious. I'm like, "I'm not doing this again." And then when I would call them for the next movie, they're like, "You said that last time." And I would say, "No, no, no, this time it's really my last
Yeah.
movie." They're like, "You also said that." But every time we would get to the very first day of filming,
Hmm.
when the camera would roll and the director says action and you get to watch the actor just in a flash transform, I fell in love with it again.
Yeah.
And it took until maybe my movie Searching where I stopped doing that. I think that's when I realized, oh man, like this is actually, like, I think it's kind of like this snowball effect. Like it's
Hmm.
hard to get started, but once you're going, then
It just clicks, and then you
yeah.
kind of are like, all right, I think I've got this.
But I mean, I feel every day so much gratitude.
Hmm.
The fact that I can do this, that I can make a half decent living doing it, It's hard, it's challenging, it's all those things, but I feel so lucky, and I always rooted in my parents and the immigrant experience.
Mhm.
Had my parents not left, their country when they did, what would my life be? So when it gets hard, I generally do try and have that perspective. It's the only way I can keep saying sometimes, but gratitude. Like,
Yeah.
forget Academy Award nominations. Like, it's just that I get to do this for a living.
I think when we can stop and pause and look at it from the outside and really have that perspective, as you said, and realize how truly lucky we are. Um, I always say this to people who ask what it's like to work in news. It's not the title. It really is the day to day.
Mm,
So you have to love the day to day in order to stick it out for 10 or 20 years.
mm.
How would you describe the day to day for a producer?
Man, that's a good question too. It varies every day because when you're filming, it's a grind in a different way
Mhm.
versus when you're not. The day to day for me is, and I'm trying to get better at this, but every day kind of feels like a war. Like I wake up and I look at my calendar and I have this incredible assistant, Wei Wing Lao, who's been with me for years and was instrumental on Sinners. And I look at the day and it's like we've kind of fill up every single minute. Like this meeting, that Zoom, and then driving to that meeting. And on the drive, I have this call and I have to get these emails done somehow in between and I
Mhm.
have to finish that script. It's such a grind and it's probably not healthy and it's definitely not sustainable. But I think it's always been a part of me to like this pace and I
Mhm.
love multitasking and I get a kick out of optimizing for this stuff. So that has been how it goes. And when we're filming, it's kind of similar too, but it's, waking up at the crack of dawn and everyone does, a hairstylist, lighting guys, like it comes with the territory, but waking up super early, often a long ride to wherever we're going to film, knocking out emails and route, getting to set, checking with my director, checking on the cast, getting breakfast while talking to the AD who's controlling the day, talking to the line producers in charge of the budget, get up, set up at, Video Village and get the sides, which are what we're going to shoot that day, go and quickly watch the rehearsal and, get a couple notes into the director, actors go off, and then we really start talking about the day and talking about tomorrow, go back to my trailer, handle calls for the next movie, and then get back. It's like kind of always like this crazy frenetic pace,
Mhm.
but I like it. But I generally do love it. I think it's that hustler mentality. Me again, I've seen my parents do it. My dad, my mom, a lot of my relatives, my community, our community. Like we're
Right.
we're full of people who just try and get things made.
Right. I think the survivor mentality works to our advantage to a
Mm.
certain
What
extent.
do you mean by that?
I think when you grow up in a immigrant community, we see our parents struggling and it's always like, how can I make this amount of money to cover this hole and pay for this
Mm.
bill and maybe buy a house someday and then you buy the house and the pipe bursts. It's always like, putting out little fires everywhere, which I
Yes,
think you can get really good at if you can sustain it in a healthy way, right?
man, that is so true. Wow. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because I've been on live news shows a few times in my
Mhm.
career, and I feel like that voice that's yelling, that's not yelling, that voice that's booming through the speakers, who's
Mhm.
saying, going live in 6, 5, 4. I mean, that's someone who does that, right? Like,
No, we don't have that.
oh, well, I went on a certain news station I went to, somebody definitely did that.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, that's gotta be so like stress inducing because people will be like, I'll be talking to the anchor, and then as they're talking, someone's saying to be live in 3 seconds, the person's talking to me, and then looks right to the camera. They go, whoop. And like, how do you guys deal with that? But in when you've done it, you don't ever have that. There's nobody in your ear telling you,
I have a producer in my ear, a line producer and then a executive producer, but it's never 3, 2, 1. It's just like, we're listening to the show. So I
wow.
know when I'm being cued. And that's really it. But I think live
And do
TV.
you ever get like a nervous pang as that's happening?
I mean, I
You're
used
stone
to
cold.
like 16 years ago when I started, but now
Wow.
it's so like second nature that I think you always think there's a camera or you're always live. And it makes you
Wow.
almost like a natural performer in everything you do because you're so conscious of yourself. So I don't know if it's a
Wow.
good thing or a bad thing, but right, it's what we do. And so it just becomes so part of who you are. But I also think it's who we are that allows us to do what we do. So it's very integrated. And because I was a performer as a kid, it's very natural. So you being someone who's naturally savvy and a hustler and your wife shares the same quality, it lends itself naturally into what you guys do.
That's crazy, man. But what's the craziest thing that's happened to you live?
Live?
Something,
Oh gosh.
yes. Bystanders interrupting.
We've had that, yeah, for sure, especially in LA. But now we have security.
Now you have
We have
security?
security. It's so cool.
When did that happen? What was it not there
I think after
before?
the pandemic.
Oh
after the
no.
George Floyd protests. They started
Oh,
giving us security on, yeah.
wow. That's so
Because you're in the
interesting.
elements, and you're
Yeah.
saying essentially, here I am at the intersection of, I'm making this up, Hope and Fifth, where yada yada is happening. Anyone that has ill intent can show up because they know you're there until 12
And
o'clock.
you guys are public figures. People know you or they recognize you now. Like that's gotta be
We're
scary.
public facing.
Public
Yeah,
facing,
it can
yeah.
be, but I think it's really how you look at it. I don't think people have that curiosity with people who do the news versus actors or musicians. It's a different type of, I think,
Fair.
yeah.
Have you ever been somewhere, like, out with your family, enjoying yourself, and then
Mhm.
something newsworthy is happening? Like, have you pulled out your phone to record it or to, like, get on the scene and, like,
I
take a
have,
report?
but I turn it off when I'm not working. And I
Mm,
think that's for the sake of sanity. Because when you're doing what you're doing, you're very hyper focused on it, right? So
mhm.
for 2, 3 minutes where I'm live, I am so present that nothing else matters. And so when I stop the news day, it just stops. So I try really not to look for those things. You find what you're looking
Mm,
for. And
mm.
so I really shut it off
That's interesting.
because you can very easily internalize news because we cover shootings, murders,
Yeah.
tragedies, anything. And so you really have to grow that thick skin to say, I'm done. I'm going home. I'm not going to look for those scenarios because
Wow.
otherwise it's everywhere. You turned the tables on me, Sev.
I'm
Well,
fascinated.
you did start out in journalism.
There you
So
go.
what else would you be doing if you were not doing this?
Hmm. I taught at USC Film School for a
Hmm.
couple years as an adjunct professor. I really love that. I fell in love with teaching, honestly, and I've met, my TA, Desi Gallegos, ended up being my first assistant at Proximity, and he's now an executive with us. He helped us co-produce the Creed 3 movie. And I met, like, my other assistant was one of my students, so, like, it was kind of a great way that I met people in the industry, but I'm a product of incredible teachers, both in high school and in film school. So I love the idea of teaching, and I kind of declared it right then and there
Hmm.
that I would teach, like, when I retire, whenever that is. What's funny is when I was a student, I couldn't wait to graduate. I was so excited to finish at USC because that was my graduate degree, last class ever. I got my teacher, who was a screenwriting teacher, an apple. I was like, this is like the symbolic
Yeah.
gesture of, like, appreciating your teacher. And I remember she was like, "Oh, that's kinda cool." I said, "Cool." My last class that I taught at USC, my TA Desi, and I had 30 students. It was like an intermediate producing class. It was my last class. We were coming to an end. And then out of nowhere, every student pulled out an apple, like all 30 of them. And I realized that Desi, my TA at the time, he had gone to Ralph's and picked up the apples and he wanted to, like, repay that same favor to
Hmm.
me. It was such an incredible moment. It was like what I tried to do for Natalie with the theater, just like, wait, what's going on? So I just have the most fondest memories, and like, specifically that day of, like, saying bye to teaching, but in my mind being like, this is not farewell. Like, I cannot wait to come back to this.
Hmm.
So I pray that if filmmaking goes well and I can do this for another 20, 30 years, that I can then go back to teaching. But if I couldn't do films, I would certainly teach whatever people would let me teach. I love it so much.
Are you at all ever concerned about the future of this business?
Yeah, I've also been concerned about the future of the business since we
Hmm.
started. When I went to film school starting in 2008, which was right when that, recession was happening across
Hmm.
the country and people were not seeing as many movies, and graduated to, you know, writer disputes and writer strikes, actor strikes, the streaming slowdown that we've all been feeling. That's the thing that's been happening as well. I'm used to just an ongoing present state of disruption in our industry. I've heard that the 90s was amazing, that people made a lot of movies and there was more money involved. But now, of course, we have screens like TikTok and YouTube that are kind of competing with the paid filmmaking process. So I'm just used to it and I'm just naturally concerned about it. But I also want to be a realist and not be too obsolete and not not be adaptable, basically. So I want to, Sinners, I think, was an incredible example of a movie we made that was an original film entirely by the mind of Ryan Coogler that found so much success. It made a lot of money because audiences showed up for it,
Hmm.
and I think it demonstrated that you can have a good business still doing this kind of film. And my goal is that we can keep doing more of that, whether it's Ryan directing or some of our other filmmakers. But if we need to expand and do more television and do more things in the audio space or nonfiction space, we'll be ready for that.
Looking at Sinners and looking at, being a creator nowadays, what do you think audiences are really looking for as a producer? Because
Yeah.
I think the audience attention span has changed, their taste in movies has changed. What do you think would sort of survive in the next 5 years?
That's the big question. For me, I actually have sat down and I've tried to analyze it. I've tried to like reverse engineer what are the films that people are showing up for.
Hmm.
And where I landed was audiences want to watch something that's propulsive. What I mean by that is it's got to be continuously hooking them, continuously being engaging.
Hmm.
It's not enough anymore for your movie to kind of have one hook.
Just one arc.
It's
Yeah.
got to have more going on. I think audiences want things that are unique and weird.
Mm.
It has to feel really specific, something you haven't quite seen before. I don't think people tell their friends, you got to go see X movie. It's a really good rom-com. I think they tell their friends, hey, when this movie comes out on Netflix, you got to go see it. It's a really good rom-com. Like for people to tell their friends to go see a movie, it's like, yo,
It's a big deal
you
nowadays.
got to go see this movie. Like it is crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Go, 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 go. So I think finding stories that are unique and weird will be always key for me. And then genre blending, by that I mean audiences are also so savvy now over all the years that they've seen everything. They've seen every detective movie, every horror movie, every comedy or whatever.
Right.
And if you can find a way to blend genres and kind of create a new concoction, that in and of itself becomes original and multiple hooks and enough of like a anchor for people. So I think that I've also like looked at the movies like Weapons, which is a really cool, great original horror movie this year. Sinners, again, another example. And then lastly, surprising. I do think movies that continuously surprise audiences with plot twists, but also just natural progression of where the story goes and the kind of characters are involved, especially in the last 30 minutes. I think that's when people kind of leave the theater being like, yo, once again, you got to go see this film. So I've kind of taken that formula and I've tried to apply it to what we do at my company, Proximity and beyond. And I have no idea if it'll be, working or not, but that's my best attempt at figuring out what makes movies work.
I actually really totally understand what you're saying because I think as we, society is always changing, right? But I think now more than ever, I feel, and in interviewing people, I'm kind of at the front row seat of a lot of people's lives. What I'm seeing is that people are really trying to pivot in a lot of things that they're doing personally or how they're living their lives. It's like the structure of this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're supposed to do just doesn't feel right anymore. And movies, for the most part, reflect that. So as people want to really feel in their lives, they want to do something that is going to be that constant pulse or just that pivot, that change. We want art to reflect that back to us, that it is possible. It is possible to have a plot twist in our own lives. It's possible to have and when you see that, you believe that anything is sort of, it can go any way, right?
Yeah, well said. Come do it with me. I need you in the room pitching next time. That's exactly right.
Thank you. We're both Armenian. And so when we look at representation, last year, Anora was awesome. I loved Anora. I know, a lot of Armenians watch her and like, oh, Almata. I'm like, no, it's great. It's such a fun movie. Where do you think Armenians are not being represented when it comes to the entertainment business? And where can you see them being represented? Like Armenians, cool Armenian stories.
I love the Nora. What's funny is I have friends who saw the movie who are non-Armenian. And I asked them, how was the movie? And they were like, I don't know what to tell you. You got to see it first. I think they were embarrassed or worried that I might feel. I love that movie. Natalie and I loved it. I've gone to know the filmmakers involved, Sean Baker and his producing partners Sam and Alex, and of course Godin and Vacha. Those guys are.
I interviewed Vacha last year.
No way. He's such a cool dude.
Yeah.
But man, where Armenia's not represented, I think to me, like I'm a big believer in culturally specific representation. Again, using Sinners as a big example, where like it features and focuses on a very distinct community of Black Americans at a very specific time in American history. But I also have made movies like Searching, which is a movie about a father looking for his missing daughter. In our film, he happened to be cast that character as John Cho, who was an incredible Korean American actor who went to Hoover High School, by the way, shout out. In that movie, the Korean American representation is actually like just there. Like it's not about Korean culture. They just happen to be Korean. And I'm also a big believer in that. And I'm excited for both stories that will feature Armenian stories and Armenian characters living out those stories. But I'm equally, if not more excited about movies that are not centered around Armenian themes, but happen to be Armenian characters or actors in those roles. So
Right.
that to me is what I want to slowly progress towards. And I'm really fortunate that I not only have an incredible partner in Natalie Kasabian and Anish Chaganty, who's Indian American, but even Ryan and Zinzi, they're all like, let's get going, let's get some Armenian stuff going. And that's absolutely, we have a couple of things in the works that are in that space, both on the film side and the TV side. But as with everything in Hollywood, it's a slow going, but it's coming.
You said that was your closing line when I did the first story on you for KTLA Armenian History
Yeah.
Month. You said, I hope there comes a day where Armenians are not cast because they're Armenian. They're just cast and it just happens to be an Armenian character. Like it's that seamless and it's that part of it, just part of the culture.
I feel that way about every culture. Like
Mhm.
I think the more we can represent everyday Americans or everyday people of the world in all types of roles, we'll all be better off. But
Right.
the way the industry works is oftentimes you need, the bigger your budget is, the larger in fame level you need an actor to be to represent and justify that budget.
Mhm.
But systemically, because this industry's been going on for decades, the actors who are at that highest level are the ones who've been doing it well before there was this openness to casting inclusion and diversity. So it's going to take a while, but I'm very optimistic that the entire industry and the entire world will start reflecting exactly that level of representation.
Mhm. So in a few weeks, you're going to be up on a really big stage at the Oscars. I mean, how do you even psych yourself up for something like that? Because we're all going to be like
Oh
bawling.
man. Oh man. I'm again just fortunate that I got a chance to work on this movie and get paid to do that and got to go to work and watch artists do art in front of me and have a say in parts of it. Like what that the little Sev who like was too scared to pursue filmmaking and settled for something else, he wouldn't like I it's like I've won every Oscar on the planet just by being able to do this. That is like first and foremost for me. The fact that like my parents sacrificed what they did for my sister and I, like all of that stuff is like
Mhm.
the real thing, right? But I'm just excited that we'll be reunited with our incredible cast and crew, and I'm sure everyone will be there, even the folks who are not individually nominated, but we're all going to be there to support. Can't wait to celebrate the nominations, celebrate the wins or the losses, whatever it may be. Our film was not one that was guaranteed to be an Oscar movie. It was not even
Mhm.
guaranteed to be a movie you even make a release. I just can't wait. I know we're gonna have a good time. I can't wait to, shake everyone's hand, give everyone the hugs, and at the end of the night, just be grateful that we got this far.
What would you tell 17-year-old Sev or other 17-year-olds like you
I would
with
probably
the same
say,
dream?
invest in Bitcoin first and foremost. Like, probably do that and don't not do that. So that's what I ended up doing. No, I would say, you will probably get there-ish because I don't even know if I've made it to that extent. I could say you'll get there, but it's gonna be a whole lot of work.
Mhm.
Like, I think you were saying it earlier, this idea of overnight successes don't happen overnight.
No.
It takes like, 20 years or whatever. I would give him that level of comfort. And I think part of my incredible fortune to have the like, this this like success, this modicum of success, because I still don't see it as anything more than fleeting and all temporary, is I think I've really tried to leave a good impression on people, and I've tried to do as good of a job as I can
Mhm.
and try and give back as much as I can, especially in our community that, always try and take the time to give people calls and advice and read things when I can. So I think all of that stuff I really do believe compounds and comes back and pays you back in all the right ways. So I would definitely encourage them to stick with that.
Absolutely. I love how you said get there-ish because it really does always just feel like that. It's like we always feel like we're in a gig business, but we're not. It's like you have gotten there and you've done the work and yes, you are there-ish. But I think that's part of the humility and what keeps it fun. Because if you knew that it's all lined up for you, then it's not fun anymore.
Mhm,
We got to have
mhm.
that little hustler under our crown for it to feel like we're always in the game and it's exciting and it's fun. What do you personally, and this is my last question, want your legacy to be?
Wow, that is the deepest question anyone has ever asked me. Wow, okay. Here we go. I feel like I'm on Jeopardy. My legacy.
No, 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 no.
I mean, that I think it's that level of like humility and being gracious and like gratitude.
Mhm.
It's as a producer, very rarely am I individually, single-handedly accomplishing anything. The very definition of my job is helping to manage others and working alongside others. So I couldn't do any of this stuff by myself. Like, genuinely, it's like the whim of incredibly talented directors like Ryan Coogler, Anish Chaganty, and all these amazing filmmakers. Fellow, like, almost no movies ever produced by one person. The fact that I get to work with Natalie and Zinzi and all these amazing other producers, and the crew and the actors, like, nothing I've ever done has been just me. It's always been a massive team effort that I've been lucky to play a small role at times. So, if anything, I hope my legacy is that I was a good team player. I was a good teammate, because part of that job is pushing at times, pulling at others, relenting at others, and navigating that, and hopefully leaving as good of an impression as I can in an otherwise very challenging job where oftentimes we have to be the ones who have to, like, set some parameters and call back and things like that. So for me, I hope if I have a legacy, would be that, dang, that guy was a good teammate.
Awesome. Beautifully said. Sev, thank you so, so much. We're all like so proud of you and so excited for you. And I mean, you're there. You're not there-ish. You're there.
Thanks, Elena. I believe you. Thank you. That means a lot.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Breaking Through with Alina Abervian. For our community to grow, please like and share, and also leave a review on this episode. Of course, you can find me on social media and let me know what you'd like to talk about in future episodes. Nothing is off limits, so let's have some fun.